Believe me, it's a lovely day to be down by the river. Hello, and thanks for joining us for this, the annual general meeting of the Nenescape Landscape Partnership Scheme. It's great to be able to share with you just some of what's been going on over the last year. And what a year! I'm John Griff, and as of the last quarter of 2020, I'm Nenescape's chair, and I'm proud to be so, with Nenescape continuing its work in what have to be described as unprecedented times and very difficult circumstances for everyone. I'm Northampton bred, so before I get into trouble, for me it's always been the Nen, and if I may, I'll go on calling it that throughout today's meeting. Now, I'm here at one of the projects that Nenescape has been supporting. It's the brand new moorings which have been installed at the Chester House development. You can probably hear some of the work going on behind me. It gives river users a new opportunity for stopping off at one of the historic jewels of the Nen Valley. An excellent example of past, present and future all coming together. It looks fantastic, so when you get the chance, do come and visit yourself. Now, before we get into the meeting's agenda, I'd like, if I may, to take time to pay tribute to my colleagues at Nenescape, by which I mean our staff and my fellow trustees. That's all because, as the country has seen change, so too have we. Led by the indefatigable Amanda Johnson, our core team staff of Mandy herself, Denise Horn and Alison Brand-Barker have continued to deliver tremendous service to the teams running the various projects supported by Nenescape, as well as liaising with our partners, tending to our vital working relationships and generally maintaining both our direction and our pace. None of that has been easy, and the team has been working away from our Kettering base throughout. Truly, I take my hat off to them. Now, at the end of last year, Ali flew the Nenescape nest briefly, and I'm delighted to report that as a result, she and her husband are now proud parents for the very first time. Hopefully, we will be welcoming Ali back to Nenescape later on this year, when the time is right. With a departure or two have come arrivals, and it's just a couple of weeks ago that we were delighted to be able to bring on board Lucy Marshall and Ricky Lee Edwards as project support officers under the Kickstart scheme. We said it then, but I'll say it again now, in public. You're both very welcome to the team, and we look forward to your contributions to the Nenescape family in the coming months. Now, away from the core staff, I'd like to thank my fellow board members, if I may. No organisation has been left untouched by the effects of the coronavirus pandemic, and of course that pandemic continues as I speak. Nenescape is not untouched either, and our supported projects alike have seen difficulties. Collectively, the Board of Trustees managed to grapple successfully with the technological delights of Zoom throughout the course of last year, including how to unmute themselves. That meant that meetings could take place fortnightly in order to keep in touch with the needs of the business. All gave of their time willingly, so it falls to me to say officially, thank you so much to all my fellow trustees for all that you do as representatives of your own organisations, where that is the case, but also as motivated and enthusiastic supporters of what Nenescape is here to do. Now, I'm honoured to be the current chair of Nenescape. I took over during the last few months of 2020 from my predecessor, Andrew Langley, who steered the organisation from its creation until the needs of a family business signalled a change in direction for him. He left large shoes to fill, and I've got small feet. But I'm delighted that we continue to number him on our board. Andrew, for all that you have done so far, thank you. There have been other changes to the board as well. Jeff Ollerton has brilliantly represented our major partner in the University of Northampton to date, but he's about to head off to pastures new. We wish him well. Although he won't be representing the university any longer, we're delighted to say that we'll still be able to count on Jeff as an independent trustee, so he continues with us. Ensuring that vital connection to the university, we were delighted when John Sinclair, who's the Dean of the Faculty of Arts, Science and Technology, agreed to join our board. Like Jeff, John brings a wealth of expertise and wisdom, which are already something we benefit from. So with that vital connection to the university, for which we are so grateful, intact, in fact we see a further strengthening of that relationship for the future. Rounding off our board changes for the year, we said farewell to Justin Tilley from Natural England. We'll miss his contribution, but we thank him for his years of service. In saying goodbye to Justin, we were delighted to welcome back to the Nenescape board, in his place, Michelle Russell. That means that our natural England relationship continues uninterrupted, and we are really pleased about that. If I may, at this stage, I'll just say thank you to all the partnership organisations that help Nenescape do what it does on a day-to-day basis. Truly, we couldn't do it without you. As you can imagine, the past year has had a significant impact on the progress of most of the projects supported by Nenescape. You won't be at all surprised that many have experienced delays in moving forward. But for all that, we've been impressed by the progress that's been made and by the genuine steps forward that we've seen and continue to see. You'll be able to see greater detail in our separate newsletter which accompanies this meeting. But in essence, between 2019 and 2020, Nenescape invested £716,761 into the projects which it currently supports. That brings our total investment for the 3 years to date to £3,112,083. And let me tell you, the 83 matters. That's quite enough for me for now. What follows is slightly different to what we would ordinarily be sharing with you if we were all together in one place. Because of the effect of the pandemic on the year, we thought it might be more helpful to show you a more complete picture of what the projects have achieved to date, as well as what's still in the pipeline for the remaining 18 months of the current Nenescape term. So, stand by for a series of reports from the Neen to the Nen and all points in between. I'll be back at the end of the meeting, but for now, please sit back and relax. And again, welcome to the Nenescape Annual General Meeting for 2021.
the Nenescape project, we've been working in partnership with Thames Festival Trust and Metal and 6 secondary schools across Peterborough. Artists Jenny Cairns and Stuart Payne developed online digital workshops and activity packs, and these were distributed to the secondary school students who were working at home during lockdown. The artists then collaged the artworks into 6 banners that are now displayed at Orton Mere and Thorpe Meadows.
Hi, I'm Harriet. I'm an apprentice at Neem Park, and I've been here since January, so it's been about 9 months. And I've had the pleasure of doing a real variety of things. So I've mainly been working with the volunteers. So we've been doing lots of gardening and raised beds. We've been doing lots of coppicing. At the moment, we are building a raised bed outside Hampton House. We also get to go around to the park and do lots of swimming and mowing and park management. I get to work across a whole variety across the team, and I just love being an apprentice. That's it.
Welcome to Station Master's Garden here in Aylesworth near Castor, Peterborough. This is a Nenescape funded project. This was an overgrown area but has now been cleared by local residents and our volunteers, and will be a wildlife haven mixed with an orchard and wildflowers.
Hi everybody, I'm Becky from Screen Northants, and we are all about Nenescape on film. So we've done a huge variety of film projects with Nenescape now. We're a social enterprise film company, and we make films, but we want to address some of the imbalances in the film industry at the same time. A lot of people completely don't have any access to film, and as we all know, film is such a powerful tool for identity, for showing off places, which is particularly why, of course, we work with Nenescape, and it's just such a huge part of our culture. And I think, lockdown particularly has just really shown how much we all consume, and it'd be a real shame if people from Northamptonshire don't get a chance to contribute to that. So the projects that we do, one of the big ones we've done with Nenescape is our feature film Nen, which is currently at Delane Lee of Warner Brothers facility in Soho, having the final sound mix, which is really exciting, and the final grade is going on as we speak too, so probably by the time anyone watches this it will be out. We've done 2 film screenings of it already in its kind of almost finished state at Cineworld and the Film House in Northampton, but now the film is finished, we'll be sending it out to film festivals and sales agents, and it will start to go on its journey online, on video on demand, to film festivals, to possibly in cinemas. Art codes is another thing that we really enjoyed doing with Nenescape in Rushden. It was part funded, as Nen was, by BBC Children in Need as well. So we work with young people from Kingsthorpe College in Northampton on creating these art codes films, which we're very proud of. We've got another series of these that we're going to be doing soon, which has been delayed by the pandemic, but excited to get started on those. And then the biggie at the minute is Northampton Film Festival. We were supposed to be running the festival in 2020, but of course that got delayed. We did a photo shoot, I think at the end of 2019, on the Arc on the Nen in Northampton, kind of showing the Northampton version of the kind of Cannes Film Festival. So, you know, we don't have the French Riviera, but we do have Le Nen River area. Hashtag I would rather be in Northampton. Because although it's slightly ridiculous to compare Northampton Film Festival, very new festival, with the Cannes Film Festival, but actually, hey, if we don't shout about Northamptonshire, who will? We'll be doing a 48-hour film challenge in conjunction with Nenescape. And we'll also be doing more stuff just to highlight what assets we have in Northamptonshire as film locations, and that all of us filmmakers in Northamptonshire should be making use of, which is very much exactly what, you know, our partnership with Nenescape is all about. We have a great county and we should shout about it, and film is a great way to do that.
My name is Beth Hodgson and we are in the stunning surroundings of Peterborough Cathedral, and we have brought 650 young people together to perform a new composition called Nen. So it's a massed choir, a symphony orchestra, brass band and various different instruments. You cannot be in this space and not be in awe, purely of the architecture, let alone the history of it. Being here, part of the piece is based in Peterborough Cathedral. It was written about a legend of Peterborough Cathedral, and that's really special for these children to understand that this legend came from this building hundreds of years ago, and then they get to sing it, especially in this fantastic 900th year. Your piece called Nen or Neen, was written by Mr. Benjamin Till, who is here just to say hello. Say hello to Benjamin Till.
I'll say one thing to you. Good luck for this evening. Sing nice and loud.
Benjamin Till, he was a member of the County Youth Orchestra, a cellist, and a founder member of the County Youth Choir. Since leaving us, he's been making his way as a professional composer, now with a very big name for himself, working in music theatre. And he was a natural choice for us as a person we would consider when we were considering commissioning a piece. And as soon as we spoke to him, he readily agreed and said he wanted to write about the river.
Have a good show.
I grew up in Higham Ferrers, which is a town along the Nen, and so much of my childhood was taken up going down to the Nen, going on walks with my family along the Nen. So it was very much a part of my childhood. For me, place and location is really, really important, and a sense of belonging. And I think the other thing about the River Nen for me was that from Higham going to Northampton, where I studied at the music school, it felt like it was the road to freedom, if you like. We followed the Nen through the Nen Valley along the A45 to Northampton, and that always meant that exciting things were happening because I loved the music school so much. And then when I went to university, I'd follow the Nen in the other direction to Peterborough, where I'd take the train up to York. So for me, the Nen is really vital. It's a really important part of my childhood.
The aim of the Community Heritage Grant Scheme is to encourage people to discover little and untold stories about the Nen Valley's landscape, people and industries. We want to provide opportunities for the features, knowledge and history of this river valley to be recorded, promoted and accessible for future generations. Over the last 3.5 years, we have delivered 5 rounds of the Community Heritage Grant. To date, we have seen 6 fantastic community-led projects being delivered.
Hi, I'm Victoria from the Museum of Leathercraft. Getting funding from Nenescape's Community Heritage Grant Scheme has allowed us to organise, catalogue and digitise our archival collection, and we're hoping to make it publicly accessible for the very first time.
Your grant allowed us to turn our local knowledge and research into a professionally authenticated, beautifully produced pair of walking routes. Not only are these now in the public domain, but they're going on to form part of a wider network of routes across Clare countryside. Good result.
We have another 4 projects waiting in the wings to be delivered over the next few months.
Hi, I'm Catherine, Director of Crafting Relationships. Our community grant would have enabled us to get out and about in Northamptonshire running an intergenerational craft-based project looking at the River Nene, building confidence and resilience amongst older community members and primary age children. Because of COVID, what we've done is create over 100 shoebox kits so that people can work together in person if they can, or online using videos and social media platforms.
Welcome all panellists. Can I ask for you to reveal yourselves? Is that okay? A good self that everybody gets to see. I love that. We've got one question for everybody, if you're all ready for it. It's, what are you most proud of to date and what are you looking forward to? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first if that's all right.
Thank you, Becky.
Because I just read it in the Q&A and I was thinking about it, and like we're so busy with all sorts of things at the moment. I think in a way we've not been able to kind of sit back and take stock for a little while. But next week we start our Northampton Film Festival, which is supported by Nenescape as well. I absolutely love the film festival because so many people make projects for it. Like I say, we did a Nen themed 48-hour film challenge at the end of last month. But we've also got some big people jetting in virtually from LA and New York and all sorts of places doing Q&As with the festival, and it's just so nice that everyone believes that, you know, Northampton kind of a big deal. Love that. And not only that, we're also premiering our first ever feature film as Screen Northants, Nen, at that festival. So it's quite momentous, really. I'm trying not to think about it because there's a lot of work to be done before next week, but yeah, very exciting.
It is going to be amazing and exciting. Just so you know, I think I've now given you permission to open your camera. Hello, Becky. Thank you. That's wonderful. Adrian, you've just popped up. Would you like to go next and answer the question?
Yeah, can I give two answers actually? So firstly, personally from Neen Park in Peterborough, I think we're most proud of the boardwalk, which is a fantastic addition to the park. We saw it in our video there. That's been so well received and loved by our visitors and makes it so much easier to visit that part of the park. And it's been so great to actually have it actually built. And yes, so that wouldn't have happened without Nenescape, which is fantastic. But my other answer is also, I think, more sort of covers all of us in the sense it's been really great to sort of get together and meet these other partners down the valley or up the valley, depending on where you are, and just create this sort of this network of partnerships and working with other people, especially over the last year. It's been pretty hard for all of us. I think it's been a really good support network. So yeah, really proud of that and looking forward to having that develop over the next couple of years and finishing all our projects and going out with a bang, really. So.
Brilliant. Thank you, Adrian. Becky and Neil?
We were muted. So to answer your first question, what are we most proud of? I think we're proud of the whole project and what we've achieved. We've met some amazing people. We've worked with some amazing people. I think we're very proud that we have helped the local community find out a little bit more about their heritage. And we know they've got appetite for more. So we're quite excited about potentially doing something in the future with them. I think also we're equally very proud of our volunteer team who have just been incredible, particularly working with all the projects that we did prior to lockdown, but also during lockdown. The garden team have continued to visit where they can. And that has been a very interesting situation with all our visitors. Many people we've found at Stanwick who've been coming here, who've never come here before, but have come to get outside, dialogue with our volunteers, talk about the project, talk about the garden. So yeah, I think that's what we're really proud of. I think I know it sounds a bit like we're encompassing everything, but I think we're just really proud of the whole project and what everybody has done to, make it happen.
I think the engagement with the audience has been absolutely amazing. The reaction from people, they've been so engrossed in it sometimes, amazingly, that things they hadn't done before, which was good, and they came back for more. I think that's a good recommendation.
Thank you both, and we'll keep coming back, I'm sure.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Let's hope.
Judy.
It's a hard one, isn't it, to know which bit of everything is to be proud of. I mean, I just feel really proud that our organisation, One-to-One Development Trust, is part of Nenescape. And I just love the fact that we've had a chance to work with some amazing partners. I love, one of the projects I really love is working with Farming for the Future and the Wildlife Trust. We've created a couple of films for them now about farming in the area, and that's just been fantastic. But I guess the overall project that I must be proud of is 900 Voices, which was the first step into the Nenescape family that we made, which was in 2018. We started that project. But the legacy of that keeps going. In fact, we were only putting entries onto the 900 Voices database the other day, which is amazing. So like the project finished 2 years ago, but it's still very active. There's still lots of people coming onto the site. And through that project, we got to make, I think, 6 short documentary films about different aspects of life in the Nen Valley. And I just love the fact that we're creating with other partners like a legacy of the Nen Valley at this time in history. And I just think in years to come, all this material is going to be really, really special. It is now, but its value also will be years to come when people look back on it. So yeah, that's what I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you. Alison, and what about you as a steering group member and of head of the chain at Stannick Lakes, what's your proudest moments?
Well, I always think it's great when the Nen Valley Festival takes place and we get to see what everybody's up to in that very intense week where there's lots going on. I'm always so impressed by how much energy all the different organisations that take part bring to that. You know, it's quite tricky working in partnership, you know, down such a long valley as the Nene Valley, and I think that's quite a good pivotal point. Obviously, I don't know if Karen Williams is involved today, but you know, big shout out to her for all the work she does in bringing that together. So I think it's great that we all get that chance to then actually showcase what we do to the wider public. If they've not been aware of it up to that point, then that gives them a really great chance to do it. Obviously, the pandemic has made that a big challenge in the last 12 months, and we weren't able to do it. And I know Karen's very much hoping we will be able to this coming year. And we're all planning accordingly, I guess. And I did also think, I mean, it was more social than anything, but I thought it was really lovely when we had that that Nenescape evening where we all came together and actually got to spend time together talking about what we did in, you know, quite an informal setting. And it was just, I don't know, it was what you imagine a river valley based project might look like on the ground. But, you know, on a wet day, that's a little bit harder to envisage, but that was a lovely evening. So I think the fact that the partnership has held together, and although we don't all get together that often, when we do, it's still apparent that there is a passion for working together and creating more as a result of being together.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Thanks, Alison. That actually sort of leads nicely into got a question from Jeff here about the pandemic. So obviously it's been very difficult life for everybody this year. Loss of life has been really, really tragic, of course, but have there been any positive aspects of lockdown for any of the projects? Alison, you're still on screen. Do you want to, I know you've had a really tough couple of months, in fact, at Stannick, but are there any positives?
Yes, it hasn't been the best of times recently, but I think the positives for us are how much the general population, if I can use that term, and the local community specifically, still want to get out to enjoy the Nen Valley that we all are based along, and specifically this site, nature. I think has probably, as we keep hearing in the media, come to mean more to people than ever. So although when we were first locked down, I think it was last March, April, May time, nobody could come. The minute we opened, I'm sure Adrian would say the same at Nen Park, people flooded to take advantage of what was going on. And I think people have perhaps reconnected with nature and adjusted their priorities in a way they maybe hadn't realised they would do. But when the chips are down, you come to realise what's really important, and your nearest and dearest are really important, but also the natural world is really important to help you through. So I think that's something that we've had. We knew that, but we've come to appreciate it more, and people tell us, you know, how important it is to them and are so pleased that they've been able to continue to visit.
That's great, thank you. Brilliant answer. Is anybody want to add to that?
I'd just say, Mandy, it's quite interesting because we made the Nene Valley website, and one of the things about the website is you get to see the stats behind it. And during COVID, there was a big rise in the amount of people looking at routes to walk and areas to explore through the valley. And I just love that. That's really good. You know, I think people have had an increased sense of appreciation of the natural environment. And that's something beyond the pandemic I feel like we should be building on, as sort of, you know, people that are all working on the river. You know, it's something that we can build on people's appreciation of nature and the environment going forward. So
I definitely agree with that. Just the fact that we've got this AGM and we've been able to show people so much of the valley in this way that we wouldn't have been able to do if we'd have booked a room somewhere in Albin in that well, it's fantastic to get together and talk to other people face to face, of course, but this is another opportunity through the wonders of media and technology that has allowed us to share so much of the valley with everybody. And does anybody have anything else to add to that?
I just want to firstly just say that Alison's said perfectly what I would have said about sort of more people coming, enjoying and embracing the outdoors, and we've certainly seen that at Neem Park. The other thing I was thinking is linked to possibly what Judy was saying is just about, it's made us become much more aware of digital technology and sort of giving people the chance to interact with the park through digital medium, and we've been making videos and other things that has really sort of, we've had a chance to work on those a lot more last year, and hopefully getting a bit better. And social media and things have been much more important to people who can't come to the park, and interaction with them through that way. So that's definitely been something that we've developed over the last year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably just going to literally say the same thing, really. But yeah, I think we've all, of course, because what we're all doing is about encouraging people to come and do something and look at something that is physical. Obviously, it's great. Sometimes I think we've, us who make film often as well, I've even forgotten that actually there's so much more to just, you can't always physically visit, and it's not all necessarily about being physically there. We were quite sad when we had to do the film festival online, but actually I think now we will always include an online version, because we've got, films that are now going out to international audiences that would have been restricted to 80 seats in a cinema.
Yeah.
I think the other thing as well is that this is a positive, I think, definitely, is it's pushed people out of their comfort zone to embrace technology. And that might be through, making a video on your mobile phone, or holding a webinar like this on Zoom. And, people have dreaded that. But suddenly there's a lot of expertise out there, and that's a massive game changer for the future. So big change. People are going to be much better now at reporting their own projects, telling their own story and stuff, and that's really valuable.
Yeah, so just at the moment we're doing a Facebook Live event on our Facebook channel. That's something we would never have done a couple of years ago. So yeah, absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, it scares me to death, but yes, it's all brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, fantastic. Thank you. And Becky, Neil, is there anything you wanted to add to that? I know Settlers have been managing amazing stuff in between being online and present at the park.
Yeah, I mean, I think Alison sort of said it. We've had loads of new people who have never come to the site before, which we've had an opportunity to talk to them about the project. And I think because we've been outside and the guys have been socially distancing, spreading themselves across the garden, we've had some amazing conversations, not just local people that have come quite a long way, to everybody's point that people are looking for new places to walk. But it's given us a new audience to talk about the project, and we hear from them how great it is to come here and walk, but also learn about the heritage and about the project. So, that's been great. I think, like everybody, it's made us think much more smartly about the way we do things. And, we didn't do homeschooling before, but now all our books that we created to go into schools were adapted so that they could be downloaded at home and used at home. So it's like everybody, it's just made us really think about who our audience is and then what's the most appropriate way to communicate with them. And that certainly has influenced how we think about things. We think about things very differently, and I'm sure some of you know, because you've been involved in it, that we're currently Neil and I are currently writing for a new bid application. And what's happened over the last sort of year or so has really influenced about the things that we've put in the bid and how we want to communicate with people. It's less about us saying this is how we're going to communicate with you, and more about asking them how do they want us to communicate with them. So it's been I don't think you can ever say it's been good, but it has, I think, made us all sort of sit up and think about things differently, which I think is a good thing.
Brilliant answer, absolutely brilliant, thank you. Sorry, I was just having a tech moment, so if I seemed a bit vague there. Thank you all for those. I've got another question here, which I assume is for me, it's about the community grant scheme. What advice would we give to prospective bidders who are due to be funded in the next round, fingers crossed? This is from a recent applicant. What advice would I give? That's a really good question. The point of the community grant was to enable all of those excellent projects that are sort of small, don't always get a chance at the massive bids of funding pots, but make massive difference because of all the people that work on them. And every single application that we've had in is different. Every application that we have in is always strong and brilliant, and it's one of my favorite projects of the whole scheme, is being able to give people the opportunity to do their passion projects. So what advice would we give? Make it happen. Once you've been okayed with the money, make it happen. Ask the team, the partners within it, if you need support in any way, and everybody is always really willing, really helpful. It's a massive connection that you have across the whole partnership. Yeah, I hope that's answered the question. It's a bit vague. Obviously, please feel free to email me and I will talk through any bid process with any interested applicant or current applicant. So that's me. We have no more questions on the Q&A post, but does anybody else on the panel have any questions for any other member of the panel? Silence. I have a quick question, but it was for Becky and she seems to have disappeared. Sorry, Becky Gill, was just about the garden and the produce that comes out of it and what happens. Where does it go? Do they sell it on, make it into, I know they made a massive batch of onion soup in the first year.
Yeah, yes, I'm here. And actually, they've just planted the summer vegetables the last couple of weeks. I think it was near, wasn't it? So yeah, we're aiming for a bumper crop again. Well, we liaised with our catering team here, who were very creative in looking with us at sort of old recipes, and it was mainly soup we did, I have to say, because a lot of our produce, I mean, we had quite a lot of fruit, raspberries, strawberries, but they kind of almost got eaten on the plant itself. It's a bit like when you go strawberry picking, most of them go down your throat rather than going in the punnet that you're given. But yes, no, so we made soup. We call it Settler soup, and it mainly comprised of carrots and parsnips, onions, so it was quite vegetably. And then we actually sold it through our kiosk, and people could buy at a very reasonable price some sort of Settler soup. So we intend to do that again this year, but it was good.
Thank you, Becky. That's brilliant. I will certainly be popping down.
And I'll let you know, Mandy, when we're doing it again.
Yes,
so
please.
You can come over
and see real people and share soup.
Yes.
That
yes.
sounds quite exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, thank you very much. I think we've got one more question in the box. Will this AGM broadcast on YouTube, be advertised through social media, and can we spread the message so more and more people get to see the work? Absolutely. It's currently streaming live on YouTube, so anybody who follows our channel will be able to tap into it right now, and the recording will be promoted far and wide after this this event. The point of us doing it by invite only at the moment was so that we can get some good quality question and answers into our recorded AGM, and then it will be available forevermore after this point to share with as many people as possible. Hopefully that's answered the question, Andrew. I know there's other strange things going on today. A lot of people are busy around some sort of election. So I know many people couldn't join us today, and this was a way of us being able to capture the best of it we can and then share it. Okay, that's actually really good timing, unless anybody has any other questions.
We've lost all the pictures. We haven't got you even.
Oh, excellent. I've got a very clear picture of you and Neil and Becky, so that's absolutely fine.
Never mind.
Well, thank you everybody for being on the panel. You are free to watch the rest of the presentations now from this point until the next one. We have a short break of around 5 to 10 minutes before the next presentation will begin. And I hope you all relax. I know I will be taking a quick short break, and we'll join you shortly. Thank you all very much.
Washbrook Road tunnel behind us, and part of the Outward into History project plan was to find the funding to create a ramp that comes down from Washbrook Road here down to the Greenway, so that all the houses that back onto here have got an access to make it more safe, so they don't have to come and try and scramble down the other side. We found the money through East Northamptonshire Council, and it's £300,000, and the design is being carried out at the moment, and it's due to be started work on in this spring. So we'll have a all pedestrian, cycle, DDA compliant ramp access for all the homes that come out Washbrook Road, Midland Road in Rushden down to the Greenway. This is the area of the Greenway where we're going to put the gateway installation. Just on this corner here, with the main route signposted up to Rushden High Street, and then that route signed out to the out to water part of the Nen Valley. Here we've got one of the interpretation boards that we've put in during the project, and some of the track markings that show you all the way from the valley, so from Rushden Lakes all the way to the Interhistory to Rushden Town Centre. The gateway is going to involve some interpretation about it being the branch line. We're going to use some of the wood from the trees to improve the natural habitat of the area, but we're going to use the community, ask the community to get involved and do some digital interpretation and some community work once the pandemic's over, lockdown's finished, and we can actually get some people out. But obviously we'll be asking in the brief for some people that are able to work with the community remotely in order to get their ideas about how this space could look.
Nenescape has partnered up with Screen Northants and students from Kingston College to make a project called Arc Codes.
Like this. Arc codes can be found in the Greenway.
The Greenway is an old railway track which is now covered up and used as a commuter walk.
You scan the arc codes and a letter will pop up, and we're making a video to go with that letter.
In 1911, a tragic train accident happened that caused hundreds of letters to be scattered over Wellingborough. These letters are the basis for the letters that we use in this project.
The letters are examples of how people lived their lives around that time.
The videos that we'll be making are nice historical pieces for the people to watch as they enjoy the Greenway walk. If you choose to scan the arc code for a second time, the video will be slightly different.
Come down to Rochester and get scanning.
I hope you all enjoyed those presentations. Apologies for those who may have noticed Farming for the Future presentation popping up, which should actually appear after Secure the Future, and it should have been enabling access presentation. Ian, I am so sorry. It means that it will appear in the next session, probably in the place where Farming for the Future should be. So it will still definitely play. But if I can just ask, Lucy, are you able to turn your camera on? Morning, Lucy. Karen, do you have a camera? I don't see that you have a camera, but can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I don't think my camera's working this morning.
Oh yeah, the feed's a bit tricky, but that's okay. It's okay. I'm just going to go to the Q&A panel. First question, if anyone watching either live or via YouTube wants to get involved, what should they do? Does anyone on the panel want to answer that one? Lucy, you have lots of volunteers who come and help you. Do you want to? You're on mute though.
You're on mute, Lucy.
Okay, I'm here now. Is that okay?
Excellent. That's better. Thanks, Lucy.
All right, so what should they do with regards to getting involved? I thought you meant, okay. Wow. The Gateway project, will be launching that quite soon once we've finalised the brief for it. We've been working on that in the last couple of weeks. And we've got our Out Water Into History Friends group, which has got over 300 members, which is fantastic. That's developed over the last 3 years. So if they go to the Facebook page, Out Water Into History, they can be involved there, and that's where there's regular updates on what we're doing. And watch that space, basically, because there'll be more information about the Gateway and how we would like all the community to get involved in designing and influencing what that's going to look like. The world's our oyster with that, really. It could be, as long as we use the natural materials and it's based on the heritage of Rushden, with obviously the aspects of the old branch line, the railway, and connections to the natural environment, the Nen Valley. So yes, that's a great starting point. The more the merrier.
Thanks, Lucy. That was a good answer.
Yeah, and we've also, just interesting, we've also got the Anglian Waterways Volunteer Scheme. It stopped last year for obvious reasons, but we're keen to try and attract more volunteers to help manage the waterways, help support our staff on the waterways, locking people through. They've got Northampton Marina, have volunteers supporting our activities there, any river clear-ups, clearing up debris, etc. And also some education and attending festivals to help promote the waterways in such a lovely Nene Valley.
Thanks, Ian. Do they, and obviously people can contact us through Nenescape if they want to get involved with any of the projects, but is there a direct route to Environment Agency as well?
Yeah, if they come to me via you, Mandy, that's fine, and then we can register them.
Wonderful. We do have a volunteers page on Nenescape where we promote volunteer opportunities throughout Nenescape as a whole, but also our wider partnership. Anybody has opportunities that aren't necessarily connected to one of our projects, we will still promote through that page as well. Karen?
My little old festival as well. So I'm hoping to go really big this year because obviously we missed out last year. And I think I was grieving a little bit, which is why I ran a business festival instead in February. But we're really excited and hoping to be able to have our finale at Abridged Lakes and working with all our partners. And I need to have a conversation, but I'd love to do something at Chester House as well. And of course, we're going to have some presence at Chester House. So yeah, lots of opportunities for volunteering. We also have a base at Abridged Lakes as well. So I am there most days. If you want to come and talk to me, have a coffee. I'm always
sorry, Karen. Your connection isn't great, unfortunately. I'm just going to repeat. Did you say you were talking obviously about the festival and that we are coming back with a vengeance this year, and you're at the shop most days in Rushden Lakes. I interrupted you there, but just wanted to.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, but it's a bit disjointed.
Okay, I won't say much then, other than
no, we want you to say lots.
No, other than obviously lots of opportunities for volunteering. We have a volunteering page on nenvalley.net as well, so trying to bring all of the partnership opportunities together. So have a look at that as well over the next week or so.
Thanks, Karen, and we will put in the YouTube link as well when we share that around. We'll add all extra links to the Nen Valley Festival, to opportunities from our previous panelists, and obviously connections to our volunteer page and the Greenway as well. I have another question here from Andrew. What will happen to the Greenway now that East Northampton no longer exists and the responsibility falls to North Northamptonshire Unitary Council? Are there budget and staffing plans in place for the new management? That's a really tough question. Thank you, Andrew. On a auspicious day as well. Lucy, do you want to take that one?
That's a really, really, really good question. So we put in preparation a budget for this because obviously we've been into the new unitary for a month or so now. And while that video was going on, I've just had an email about the budget, and we were trying to get our own budget for maintenance because currently it's owned by
well, it was owned by Northamptonshire County Council, and Highways look after it. And we were trying to get a budget so that we could look at, well, obviously we're all going to be one, but if I still have a job, but I'm sure I will. Everything, there is really no change, is what I'm trying to say. This is a very long-winded answer. So I continue as normal. The Greenway has been recognised as an asset for Northamptonshire, so they're invested in it, and we are trying to make sure we get a budget for it for its future maintenance, so that it would be, currently we have 3 cuts a year from Highways. That's a bit sporadic. What we'd like to do in the future is have a budget, so we could say, I could say, for example, right, so it's going to be cut in May, July, September, and we would know when that would be, so there'd be better workings between us, we'd be more in control. But obviously that will happen as Northamptonshire develops and we all sort of get settled down. But as I was saying, yes, that budget is being pursued at the moment. Currently we're just as we have been for the last however long, but we will be taking it all on. There's no reason why it will change. Like I say, they see it as an investment. We've been working very, very hard in the last few weeks and the last few months to develop the connection between Rushden and Wellingborough via Chester House Estate, which is no mean feat, because obviously that being a scheduled ancient monument and especially protected area, we can't just put a bit of tarmac down there like we have, say, in Rushden or Higham, or have a surface like we have through Stanwick Lakes or up towards Woodford. We have to have something bespoke. So we put in a funding for the Community Renewal Fund last week for a design, somebody that can come in and design something innovative there. Obviously, we're having discussions with Historic England and working very closely with Chester House, Natural England, Environment Agency. So yes, in a nutshell, the Greenway will continue. It will continue to be developed, working in close partnership with the Eyes Valley now, who are being hosted by RNRP, because that connection between Wellingborough, Kettering and Corby links into the wider Greenway network, which is to get to Peterborough via Oundle, Warmington, and also if the new garden village up in between Corby and Oundle goes ahead, we'll have a link between Corby, Tresham Garden Village and Oundle. So hopefully there'll be many, many more miles of the Greenway. And I hope that sort of answers the question.
Very full answer. Thank you, Lucy. That's great. We've got another question here from Mike, but if I can just skip across to Andrew's follow-up question just quickly. Karen, I think this is aimed at you mainly. The Nen Valley transcends both the unitary councils in Northamptonshire. Is there the possibility for a joint declaration from both councils to continue to support the wonderful work that has been happening by partners and volunteers in the Valley over the last few years? Karen, do you want to head that one up?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you. It's a little broken, but we can hear you.
I'm so sorry about the technology. Obviously, it just hasn't worked in Clapton today. What's going on? But in a nutshell, yes. So the geography is Northampton to Peterborough along that Nen Valley corridor. We have submitted a bid to the Community Renewal Fund this week as well. So the idea was that we have joined forces with Nenescape and with Lucy and the Greenway, so we wanted to demonstrate that collaboration. I do understand as part of the Community Renewal Fund that will be assessed by West Northamptonshire. So obviously I'm already in contact with colleagues just to join all of that up, because regardless of the unitary, and the geography, there is still that commitment to working in partnership. What's really exciting for me now is the Eyes Valley partnership. So opportunities to kind of look at the river eyes and the tributaries and those settlements as well. So that will obviously include the geographies of Kettering and Corby. And also there is the Rockingham Forest Group as well, looking at aspirations for the forest area. So yeah, it's all really exciting. Obviously, now that we're in unitary, we're just finding our way, so it's little steps, but Destination and Valley and the work with Nenescape and Lucy and partners also continue.
Thank you, Karen, and thank you to everybody who's listening. I know that was a bit disjointed, but if you didn't catch
some of that. In essence, what you're saying, Karen, is yeah, absolutely. It's a joint up landscape. We're working in partnership with everybody, and all our funds and our plans are very joined up, and continue to promote the valley as a landscape wide.
Yes.
Nice, lovely, thank you. Mike, you've asked, with the delays of COVID emergency, is there any prospect of Nenescape funding being extended? The funding itself, yeah, potentially we will have a few months over. We're hoping we'll still be on track to get all of our planned projects delivered on target by the end of 2022. But there is definitely an appetite within the partnership itself to continue as a partnership, and possibly add new schemes and continue after our lottery funded first round plans. So difficult question, because as with all things, it's we have to assess it as we go. At the moment, we are thinking there may be a little overlap, maybe a couple of months, but we'll know more after this summer, obviously, when we know more about whether things can open again, how much extra things we can achieve over this summer when doors open. I hope that answers your question, Mike, but please keep watching this space. We will give more updates throughout the year. It won't be quite a Boris speech, but we'll try and keep everybody updated as we go along. And we have another question here. Has there been an increase in boating activity on the river as we come out of lockdown? Are we expecting this to increase? Ian, can you answer that one?
Sure. It's been slow. People are returning to their boats, trying to attract visitors via the Northampton Arm onto the River Nene. It is slow, but the weather hasn't helped. We were in strong stream for much of early part of this year, but hopefully now people will have confidence and will start to return to boating activity. We have incidentally seen a huge surge in paddle sport activity. License sales through Canoe England have been almost doubled last year, and we're increasing to see that for this year as well. So we're really keen to try and address paddle sport access, working closely with Canoe 2 on back channel access, so it's safer, it's more tranquil, it's a better paddle sport activity, as well as increasing access and facilities for our boaters. So onward and upward, trying to stay positive.
Thanks, Ian. No, I know personally, I can't wait to get back on the river, and other businesses along the river have just said that the increase in paddleboarding has been amazing. The interest, people wanting to get on. I think this summer, if we're allowed to, could be an incredible one. Thank you for that. I hope that answers those questions. Can I just ask a question that was asked the previous panel of each of you, and ask, what is the thing you have been most proud of, and what are you looking forward to next? Ian, since you're on screen.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're the Navigation Authority for the Anglian Waterways. We manage 7 rivers, and the Nene is by far and by most the best in terms of our partnership working, who we work with. It's embracing a whole range of organisations to look at improvements across the whole Nene Valley, land-based as well as water-based activity, and that collaboration has been really so positive for us, working with all those organisations through Destination Nene Valley and obviously through Nenescape.
Thanks, Ian. Lucy?
There's quite a few. I'm going to say the tunnel, which you showed in the video, because that was spectacular. It was quite a feat just to get it prepared and get the actual authorization to do it. But once we got all of that, and the interest, and because we launched a competition, that the amount of entries we received, and the amount of interest, and the amount of people that came to that launch, it was back in June 2019, was incredible. And the video showed some of the comments that have been posted on Northamptonshire walks within just the last month of people been exploring, been walking more and have seen it. So that legacy lives on and it's incredible. So that's nearly 2 years old and it's never been graffitied, which is a testament to itself. Fantastic. And I think it hasn't happened yet, but I think this Gateway project, which is going to be like the finale, if you like, pulling it all together, everything that we've done, I think that's going to be a huge success. And last but not least, it's working with yourselves. Nenescape, you're absolutely fantastic. The support you give us is incredible. So that's a massive thank you to you and how well you've done today.
Thanks, Lucy. We'll pay you later. Thanks very much. Karen, would you like to step in?
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to echo Lucy, you've stolen what I was going to say, actually. It's can you all hear me, by the way?
It's still a bit juddery.
So for me, it's the strength of the partnership and what we all bring into the projects, because without us as partners and working together, we can't achieve what we have achieved so far. So I'm immensely proud of every single one of us, really, and especially over the last year, how we've been able to pull together. And the fact that we can just muck into each other's projects, and if we need that support, it's just absolutely brilliant. And really, you know, the strength of Destination Nen Valley and the partnership and what we're trying to achieve along the Nen Valley to you all. And, you know, our partnership continues to grow from strength to strength. So, you know, long may it continue.
Thanks, Karen. Absolutely agree with that. I mean, it hasn't been a quiet year for any of us, I don't think, especially those in yourselves in local authority, and Ian behind the scenes with not just the flooding, but dare I mention the mooring at Chester House, which is so exciting. And I know the video hasn't played yet and people will get to see that later, but obviously John was at the mooring earlier in his introduction. That has been a fantastic, momentous achievement. I think it seems such a quick thing out in the public when they see this happen over a few weeks, but it has been a few years of preparation and hard work. You must be really pleased.
Yes, yeah, agreed entirely with you, Mandy. We've got some drone footage as well. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to include it in my clip, which you'll see later, but happy to share that with you.
Brilliant.
Ian, we would
yes,
love
Karen.
We would love to include that on the website, please. That'd be great.
I will do. That's fine,
Yeah,
Karen. Absolutely
definitely.
perfect. Yeah, great idea.
Thanks. That's really, really good. Do any of the panelists have any other questions for any of the panelists? At all? Silence. Well, in that case, thank you very, very much for giving up your time for the panel. And we have a short break coming up. Comfort break, and then we'll start the Secure the Future presentations, which will also feature enabling access from waterways to land. Thanks. Thank you all again. See you soon.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We've had a fantastic day here today with the Angling Trust and the Environment Agency. We've engaged with some of the youngsters from the Polish Catholic schools today.
Fishing and the rules, which are very important, and we have to follow in UK, you know. And what we can say that was great about this presentation? What did you like the most?
I really liked when you throw the fishes all around and everyone was trying to catch them.
There is no language barrier because everybody's got a rod in their hand. There's a lack of children coming through and it's great to see it.
We're Pat and Brian coaches from the Wellingborough District Nen Angling Club.
A couple of years ago we were approached by Radu, who at that time was running Building Bridges, about whether the club wanted to have any more coaches. So we went off and did our level 1 and level 2 coaching certificates, and at that point Nenescape were looking to run some events. The Nenescape project has introduced a huge amount of membership to our club. our junior membership. When we took over, I think we had around about 30.
Yeah, 30ish, wasn't it?
And
Yeah.
this year we've almost hit 300 juniors. Well, the great thing is when you get involved with building bridges, it encompasses the whole of the foreign angler membership of our club. And the other great thing is another angler that we meet on a regular basis, a guy called Andreas. He's now been put forward as a level 1 coach as well, so we've got a foreign language coach as well, which is absolutely fantastic.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, on foreign language, also we'd like to point out that we have received a lot of foreign language signage from building bridges, and they are dotted around our fisheries so people can be aware of the rules of fishing in England.
We all belong in a community, and as being part of a community, as fishermen, we're actually taking of the community. And I've reached a point certainly where I've done it for most of my life, and I would just now like to give back to the community.
The more children and youngsters we have on the bank, the better. And if we teach our young ones how to fish correctly and the rules and the laws of this country, it will be passed on through generations and on to their parents, their uncles. It's beneficial all the way round.
So, in conclusion, what have we learnt and achieved? Well, this is the first lottery grant venture for the Angling Trust, and the project was cut right across all forms of angling. In terms of education, we've attended 9 Polish Saturday schools and had over 1,600 Polish children and families in attendance. 200 of these kids have gone on and attended our coaching sessions. These have produced some fantastic family stories. Moving on to angling coaching, we've held over 50 coaching events within the Nene Valley, with over 2,000 people attending one-to-one coaching events. And we've created a real professional core coaching team within the Nene Valley. Sitting underneath these is a community club structure of angling clubs. And we have delivered over 300 multilingual signs to some 16 clubs across the Nene Valley. We have introduced a core team of volunteers, and we've had 25 people trained in the Nene Valley as voluntary bailiffs. So in conclusion, I'd just like to say a big thank you from myself, Kelvin, Jan, Dave, Doosan, Shimon, Paul, Coach Pat, Coach Brian, Coach John and Coach Susie, and also the big thanks to the Heritage Lottery Fund. But we would really like to hear your views on the way this has gone, and as such we'll be running an evaluation survey in the spring and summer of this year to capture your views on the link below. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Victor Seacast from the River Nen Regional Park. I've been leading on the Resilient River Project. The Resilient River Project is all about improving the back channels and backwaters of the River Nen to improve their biodiversity, their ecology and also the heritage of them.
it was not to be. Connections remain, but structure has all but disappeared. However, despite what 2020 threw at us, I'm really happy to say that we achieved a great deal. Also, one of our volunteers came second in one of the categories of the Nen Valley photography competition. Nothing was better though than when we did our first litter pick scrub clearance at the end of September. Being supported and supporting the Inland Waterways Association, we met on a Friday and a Saturday. We were joined by the Maritime Volunteer Service, who did a cracking job of clearing the scrub alongside the riverbank. They were on their boats and tackled it from the river. One of the volunteers, a member of the Rotary Club who joined us, gave up his gym session that week. He felt that wheeling wheelbarrow loads of scrub up and down the river was sufficient for him to get his work out that week. The weather was kind to us and we all felt so good to be outside and working together, having natural flowing conversations and doing something really useful. In October, towards the end of October, we joined forces with the Wildlife Trust and offered some bird identification training. This took place at Stanwick Lakes, and it's hoped that the volunteers that took part in that training will be able to do some monitoring of birds at various sites along the valley. I did mention the ad hoc nature of Nenescape volunteering events. That does mean that you're not tied to a specific day of the week or to weekly events or even monthly events. We would send you a list of opportunities as and when they occur, and you can decide what you like, what tickles your fancy, or if you've got some spare time, you can help us on something or you can help one of our partners. Coming up, we will be supporting Chester House Estates. They've got an enormous volunteer team that they're hoping to recruit, and we will be helping them with those volunteers. They'll be having regular sessions in all sorts of areas, be it outdoor work, indoor work, working with the public or working alone. So please look out for news regarding that.
Investing in Skills project underpins the Secure the Future theme. This has been devised to provide a suitable programme that can offer the most effective training and education for the sustainability of the projects and the communities they impact. In addition, providing support for people working within the scheme by developing skills and opportunities to access professional development and high-level qualifications. It is important to ensure that staff and volunteers feel valued and have opportunities to improve their skills and experiences for the benefit of the project and the individual. The successful Landscape Partnership Scheme is also due to the commitment and personal investment given by the staff that support it.
This journey is not about ticking boxes, but a shared vision to make real change and improve the lives of people living and working within its boundaries. It's thanks to the National Lottery Heritage Fund that Nenescape is able to provide opportunities to support individuals and share their personal successes and achievements. I hope everyone enjoyed that. I have to say a massive thank you to Ricky, Lee and Lucy for helping put all of those together. They've only been with us a month, but they've managed to craft this amazing event for us today and also put together a lot of these presentations as well. So massive thank you to them. Can I ask our new panelists to reveal themselves, please? Hi, Helena. Hi, Matt. Hi, Victor. Hi, Denise. I think that's all of you now. Hello, welcome. Helena, I hope you liked the fact that we played your film twice. It was obviously so special. We had to play it twice.
Oh, I feel a bit, yeah.
I'm sorry we put it in the wrong place, but it's great. It was a really good film, so that's a bonus. So I'm going to go straight to the questions. Thank you, Claire. You're always there with questions. Has there been an aspect of training that you hadn't expected to deliver or had a much higher demand than you expected? Oh, that's an excellent question. I'll go in first then, if that's all right. With shall I show my film video? There we go. Hello. That's only fair, isn't it? Yes, didn't expect to have such a massive demand in how to use Zoom and various different training sessions on needing to train everybody up on how to use all this technology for communicating with each other from remote spaces. But it's been, I can't believe we weren't using it before. In a nutshell, I can't believe we weren't always communicating at partnership meetings in this way. I think we had far more get-togethers as a partnership over the last year than we ever had in the 2 years previously, because we're all traveling from all across the county to come together in one space. And over the last 12 months, we've been able to meet regularly. We've been able to share ideas. It's been absolutely brilliant. So that's me. Does any of the other panelists have anything to add on there?
Yeah, I can go. When we wanted to get some volunteers to do some bird surveys as part of the rotary ditching work that we did on 7 sites across the Nene Valley. And we'd done some surveys the year before with some existing volunteers that we knew were already looking at the sites. I think there was about 4 or 5 already going out, which was brilliant, providing us with great data, and all the sites were covered. But obviously during COVID, I was a bit worried about trying to get volunteers out to come and survey sites. So we obviously did a bit more promotion about where we want people, and we ended up with nearly 40 people interested and wanting to go out and conduct bird surveys, and many of which had never done bird surveying before, didn't have a lot of experience. So with massive help from Nenescape, we were able to put on 4 separate training sessions for people that were beginning or didn't have a lot of experience with bird surveying. That was in October last year, with the help of a brilliant volunteer as well, called Bob, who was brilliant and able to teach a lot of our now new volunteers the basics of bird surveying and what birds to look out for. And as a result, we've had so much data for the past 6 months of birds at all of our rotary ditching sites, which has been really great and just been a really useful way of being able to show how valuable the habitats that we've created has been, especially during this year where we've had crazy wet weather and flood events. So it's been really helpful and really useful way of demonstrating the success of our project. So it's really good.
Thank you. And I'd like to say that I can remember all of the birds from that session, and I can remember none. pigeon is always really clear, but I for some reason I can't store them in my head. Hopefully, some before the end of this project, I will. Does anyone else have anything to add on that? No. Denise, question for you: are there any examples of people of whatever age deciding to retrain or change their career plans based on their volunteering experience?
No is the very direct answer. We have had somebody who has joined us because they have thought about changing careers before they contacted us. Unfortunately, because of the situation, we haven't had many opportunities to support that training. But I know that the Wildlife Trust are just going to begin to do some surveys, some meadow surveys. So I'm hoping that that particular volunteer will be able to get involved in that, and that will be a really nice introduction for her into a different profession or a vocation. Yeah.
Thanks, Denise. I can say that the apprentice Harriet at Neen Park, she completely changed her career to become a conservation apprentice. So had a good career in marketing, I believe, and just went, I need to change everything. I need to be outside. I need to change my lifestyle, and took an apprentice position and has been doing absolutely fabulously all year. Can't wait to see her continue her career as conservationist, should we say, of all descriptions at the minute, doing a lot of ranger work at Neen Park. We've also had a volunteer who joined us for a litter pick on the river about a year or so ago. I think it must have been 2 years ago, who then had such a good time on the river, their first experience on the boat, and has recently, in fact, very, very recently, about to get a boat to a kayak to go and continue their litter picking efforts via the river on the Eyes, thanks to River Nen Regional Park. So look out for more of that. Can I put the other question that Claire raised way back in the first panel as well to you all? What's your proudest moment, and what you're looking forward to coming next? Denise, do you want to go first since you're online?
My proudest moment is that since the project began.
Can be.
It's really, really difficult. And all I can do is echo what most of the other people have said, that sort of each day is almost like a blessing. There's every week I learn at least one new thing about the valley. I thought I knew quite a lot, but I'm learning new things all the time. So I just feel very honoured to be part of the project and to hear stories from everybody, really, and to learn so much from everybody. But I think, as we've already mentioned, the litter picks that we've done alongside the river have been fantastic, especially the one last autumn, where it was the first chance everybody had to get out. And actually, although we were sort of regarding social distancing, etc., to actually just communicate as human beings again was amazing. And I think we just all felt so elated after that session.
Thanks, Denise. Yeah, I agree with that. Victor, you want to go next?
Yeah, proudest moment is probably really just happened, which is the Wellingborough Embankment floating ecosystem installation. Probably I'm quite proud of that, just because it's somewhere I grew up being around fishing, being down there as a kid, and obviously a lot of my friends and family are from around this area, so it's like you can see it from the road. They go there a lot, so it's just being able to be like, yeah, I did that, or at least got that to a point where someone else could come and install it. But I was part of that, so that's why I'm quite proud of it, and taking the kids down there, and they can see what I actually do for a job, sort of thing. Try and understand a bit more.
Thanks, Vic. Matt, as steering group member of this team, what's your proudest moment?
Probably a couple. One is kind of just the way all the partnership working has taken place, because that's one of the things HLF was sort of talking to us right back when we were starting this project, about how all the projects going to work together. And it's been great with the projects I've been involved with, working on the river restoration stuff with Victor and the Stanick and Ferry Meadows Country Parks, getting involved with rotary ditching stuff there. Then Valley Festival. It's just everything's really fitted together really well. And then on the small scale, kind of with the working with the Farming for the Future project, we had a small SSI meadow near Oldwinkle that hadn't been managed for years. We had a landowner that wasn't interested, a land agent that agreed to meet us, but in a shiny car and wanted to be anywhere but there. But they agreed to work with us. We got funding for the fencing. We've worked with a local farmer to get it grazed. We combined volunteer forces with Denise and got lots of volunteers to help sort of clear the site. And then next year, orchids started appearing. That was just massively positive.
That's fabulous. I love that. Thank you. Helena.
Yeah, so I mean, echoing Matt's example of the SSI, that was a really proud moment because it was like, oh my gosh, this actually works. Like if we can, we can actually like improve habitats. And so then being able to do that across other places in the valley has been really great. And just having that presence and like in the 3 years that I've been here, it's been really great to like grow and improve my connections with the farmers. And now I feel like I've got a bit more of a presence and like I'm like trusted by a lot of the farmers in the valley, and that means that we're able to do more work with more people. So that's really good, and I feel like we're a bit more of a go-to organisation now if there is any advice that farmers might want on any sort of habitat restorative works, things like that. So that's something that I'm proud of. But looking forward, I'm really keen to get out and do some more habitat work, especially with more meadow restoration and potentially some other wetland creation this year, because last year things were on hold. So I'm just really keen to get out and deliver some nice habitat in the future.
Brilliant, thank you. And you've got more team now as well, so you've got new staff.
Yes, we have.
We've getting bigger and better.
A new recruit, Bruce, who has extended the Farming for the Future project boundary to cover more of the Harper and Willows Brook. So more involvement and more engagement there with farmers, working closely with RNRP is going to be brilliant for the next 12 months at least. That's
bigger and better all the time. That's fantastic. Thank you. Matt, we didn't add an Access for All presentation this year because it's more of things that go on behind the scenes, but I think it's probably worth mentioning to people that there are so many extra things that go on behind the scenes for Access to All project that doesn't really get a sort of a front face like all the other ones do. Do you mind just giving a very, very short précis of what we're trying to achieve through that?
Yeah, so Access, we didn't do a video because it's not really led by any one person. It's kind of Access for All is just a project. It's kind of the sort of the board, the Nenescape team, Natural England Wildlife Trust, just working to try to promote sort of safe, sensible recreational use in the Nen Valley without disturbance to the wildlife. So particularly focusing on the Special Protection Area, which is the international designation for the overwintering birds. We've done studies to look at how people and the birds interact. We've got some signage coming soon to kind of promote the importance of the valley to its visitors. We've got various sort of little projects on the ground where we're putting in screening and sort of diverting footpaths so people can see the best parts of the site but not disturb the birds that are using them. And yeah, lots of work that's been ticking on. That's been a really positive project.
Thank you for that. I wish I had you writing all that down earlier when I was trying to put it into a report, but that's fantastic. Thank you. So and the hope is that by the end of this project, we'll have a plan, a strategy, something concrete that will support the partnership and people working alongside the valley going beyond us, aren't we? So that will also support those looking after that really key asset of the SPA and the Wilderness Valley as well. Thank you. Do any of the panelists have questions for each other? You have all the conversations outside this meeting. You don't need to have them right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very, very much. And if there's no other questions from everyone else in the room and who's joining us in the chat today, thank you very much for being with us all morning. For those who have managed to, we're going to leave you now with a closing statement from John Griff that will play seamlessly after I stop talking. As I said, this whole session will go, he's broadcasting live now, but what we will do is we'll edit that version that's on YouTube so that it cuts out the breaks for example, and any glitches, and then we will share with you the link for you to share far and wide. It will go on our social media channels and website, and I will also add in any of the links to different surveys and shortcuts to volunteering pages and things like that. We will be emailing a short survey round, feedback survey, just about the meeting and the format itself to all attendees, which we hope that you will fill in and send back to us. We want to hear about any way we can improve. Practice, 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 I assume is probably going to be the answer to most things, but thank you again, and I will leave you with John.
Do you know, I think it's starting to get a little bit brighter down here at the Nen and Chester Farm, where I'm alongside one of the projects that Nenescape has been supporting, the new moorings. Now, you've seen quite a lot this morning, haven't you? A variety of chapters making up the Nenescape journey to date, and with a lot more to come besides. I hope you've enjoyed what we've been able to bring you. You've seen the past, we're here in the present, but now we start to look towards the future, and that means not only the future of the project that Nenescape supports, but also the future of Nenescape itself. Nenescape has a finite lifespan in its current form. So what will become of Nenescape when we finally reach the end of that lifespan? Will Nenescape simply disappear? Speaking as a board, we believe that there is a great deal left for us to do in championing the activities and the communities who are all found along the line of the Nen Valley, or the Neen Valley, depending on how you pronounce it. We are at the discussion stages of what Nenescape might seek to deliver in a second version of itself, and what projects it might look to support as well. In the meantime, we'll continue the work in which we're already embarked, and we'll keep you posted with developments via our website and social media postings as well. We're at the end of our time together today. Hopefully next year we'll be all together. But from everybody at Nenescape today, thank you very much indeed for joining us for our AGM. And here's to more listening to the past, exploring the now, and let's not forget the small matter of securing of the future too. Goodbye.